For us, certainly a busy day, probably busier than you expected it to be when you spoke earlier in the week. Just your assessment on the moves that have happened with Sam Nombe heading to Luton Town, and then Andrew Fisher and Stephen Walker coming back to the club.
Yeah, it's been a hectic day. It's been a hectic 24 hours. It all came to life yesterday, really. On Sam, the Luton one was there in January. They made a bid for him in January, and we turned it down because we felt we needed him to help us get out of the situation we were in. And obviously he played his part in that. This time it's come around, it's a different situation. Sam really wants to test himself in the Championship. It's another academy graduate that's come through and gets to test himself in the Championship. And he possibly wasn't going to play as much as he wanted to here. So it makes sense all round. Financially for us, he's still our player at the moment. Obviously he goes there with the intent to become a permanent player at Luton, a permanent signing. But he goes there for the season. Hopefully he does well for everyone and for himself. And wish him all the best. But I think bringing in Steve and Cammy and 2 strikers in the last week or whatever it is gives us real options, gives us different options. And I think the players will tell you how much Cammy Jerome's already added. I think the players who were here with Steve last time know the ability he has. He's coming back more of a man physically, mentally, playing a completely different style that really suits him. And I feel we've got 2 players in and 1 out that suited better to what we're doing. So it's good business. I really do feel that for the club, and I feel we're in a really strong position as a squad. And Andrew was one we've monitored the whole time. We've wanted to sign all the way along, and for one reason or the other, Blackburn have taken their time in terms of getting another goalkeeper in, and he's become available on the last day. So that got a bit frantic. So huge credit to Andy and the chairman for helping us get these deals done. And to Kirstine, who's been really busy typing away on the computer to get it done in time. I think it was 2 minutes to spare with Andrew. So he added a huge amount last year. He really helped Laurie and Lee to really improve and kick on. Lee's performances were excellent once he came in. And if at any point Lee doesn't perform as well as he can, or there's an injury, then we know that Fish is ready to step in and play. Fantastic goalkeeper with a bit more experience now, coming in, played with Blackburn a couple of times, and was someone we really believe in and who wants to be here. So for me, it's been a long transfer window. It's been a hugely successful one, and I'm really, really happy with what we've got now. If you look at what we set out to do, speaking to Liam really early days in March when the season finished and curtailed, we were working on it then, even if the season started or not. There's been a hell of a lot of conversation, a lot of discussion, a lot of strategy, sitting there and deciding what we want and having clarity in it, and it's come to fruition, and I'm really pleased with what we got.
Before we fully reflect on the transfer as a whole, let's talk about Steve Walker. As you mentioned, we only got to see a glimpse of him when he was here last time, very limited, given that he was coming to quite an established team that was fighting at the top in the league. But as you said, he's had 2 years now. He's played some games in the Championship as well for Middlesbrough, and I imagine you're expecting a much more experienced striker. Obviously, we saw the traits that we saw glimpses of, the pace and the trickery. Yeah,
so he's been on 2 loans, had a promotion with us, wasn't involved as much as you'd like, was really involved at Crewe, got promoted last year, and then obviously the season got cut short. He's played in the England age groups all the way through, some top players, Hudson-Odoi, Max Aarons, people like a lot of players now, Phil Foden, who are really kicking on. And he wants that chance. He needs to play somewhere that really suits him. I feel we play a style of football that really, really suits him. Extremely quick, athletic, fantastic ability on the ball. And I feel, knowing him personally, obviously being in the dressing room, I can get the best out of him. There's no doubt about that. He's had a lot of options in this league to go and play elsewhere. And he's come in because he feels the same way. He feels the relationship we have, as I was demanding of him when we were in the dressing room together, and he knows he's going to get that and much more now. So the relationship we have, I think, will help bring the best out of him, and I think he really adds to what we've got, and he's really different to what we've already got in the squad. So really, really pleased to get Steve, again, just thank you to the chairman and Andy and everyone in Middlesbrough for helping get that over the line.
Andrew Fisher, it gives you 3 goalkeepers. You look across the country now, and it seems like the norm. Before, a few years ago, it seemed like you only carried 2 goalkeepers, but everyone seems to carry that 3 now. And you've seen from Laurie and what he can do, and obviously from Andrew last year. That's a strong goalkeeping unit that, for a tough season with a lot of games, things happen. You've got a lot of depth there now.
Really strong in that department. Really, really pleased. Really important for training to have 3 goalies. Really important, as you said, if you get an injury. And Laurie's come in and been brilliant as well. He's really improved mentality-wise as well. He really feels part of the squad now, and he'll be staying with us. until at least January, and he's got as Andrew has and as Lee has, they've got to earn the right to play, and then to try and get on the bench as well. So there's real competition there, and we need that. We've got that in every position now. We've got a lot more with less numbers than last season, but there's more quality in terms of depth of quality. So I'm really pleased with that. And as I said, someone who was desperate to come here. He's left the Championship club to come here. He had a year on his contract, and he's helped to force it through. So delighted with it.
So reflection on the transfer there. You've mentioned it briefly, but 10 new arrivals, probably as many people exiting. It has been a transition, and I know that's something you were quite keen to do, given that given the recent form and the success of the football club. I know you were quite keen to kind of transition into this new era, and with the amount of people coming and going, you've certainly done that.
Yeah, I think people outside probably didn't expect it to be so much of a squad rebuild, whatever you want to call it. I feel like the club needed to reset something, culturally and performance-wise, in the standards day to day, professionalism, being grateful to play for this football club, being humble enough to play for this football club, being hungry enough to play for this football club. So it's the reason we've done so much, and it's no disrespect to any previous manager or any previous players, but I feel we've improved in every department. There's no doubt about it. We've got most of the people we've signed were our number one targets. We've added quality of depth and experience, and as I spoke about, the cultural architects of Cameron and Richard, two huge signings at this level, regardless of their age. Forget that, they've still got so much to offer. Cammy's come in and shown that physically. He's got as much as he always has done. So I think they can't be taken for granted, them signings. They don't come here unless they believe in the project. They're not playing in League One. Both had options in the league higher than this. So they've come here because they believe in what we're building. Obviously, I have a relationship with both of them. That's not the only reason they've signed. It's because they can see what we're building. We presented to them both on numerous occasions about what we're trying to build, what we're doing, how we're doing it. Same with every player that come here. We missed out on one top target, that was it. And we had a club record bid turned down during a global pandemic when the economy and finances are extremely strained and difficult. And by the way, that's changed dramatically since we put that bid in. So if I look at it, it's been a fantastic window. It's been a long one, and that's why people, I think, take things out of context. We sold one of our best players last season because it was too good a deal to turn down for him and for us. So that's the reality of the situation. And if we knew what we know now in terms of what would happen with COVID and no fans in the stadium all season, of course we'd do it. And that hasn't been the deciding factor in anything, which is it's unbelievable, really, considering the circumstance with what the chairman's having to deal with in the business as a whole and the football club, and the fact we've sold and got money for a few of our players after finishing 19th in League One is testament to what we're doing here. Testament to how most clubs have to work. They have to, at this level, you have to trade players. It's as simple as that. If you want to be sustainable financially, if we want to build a squad, and do you know what? I hope we're able to sell more in the next year or two, because it means we're doing something right. I hope we're able to hold on to enough of them to take us to where we want to, and then eventually we get to a position where we don't need to do it at all. But until then, it's the same for anyone outside of the Premier League. So I think it's been a fantastic window. I think we've got every position we wanted, every type of character we wanted, different players in terms of experience, some young, really potential, real top potential, some really experienced ones who have been there, done it, who are going to help those younger ones. So the makeup of the squad for me is fantastic. We now need to make sure it works on the pitch. The performances have been there, and we're still. And I said to you, it's going to take time. When you rebuild something, starting from the foundations and working upwards, which is what's happened. In terms of personnel, in terms of culture, in terms of performance, how we're trying to style the team, the team identity, the club identity. It takes time. I've been part of that process as a player. I wasn't part of that process for very long. I went through a couple of cycles, and the last one, at the club I was at, there was a bit of short-term pain, and it ended up in promotion to the Premier League when no one expected it. So I knew whenever you try and change something structurally, whenever you try and change something culturally, it takes time. You have a really messy middle, I think they call it, where you go through periods of change, and it's a bit uncomfortable for some people. People come to grips with it a lot faster than others. We've signed a lot of players really late. We've signed 2 more players late now that are going to need some time to fit in. Fortunately, we've worked with both before, so that gives us a bit of an advantage. But once everyone is fully fit, once everyone is here and fully present, able to give exactly what they've been brought in to do, which Keezy's building up to, Cammy will build up to, Scott Fraser is getting there, then I'm really, really excited about what we can create and what we can achieve. And they've shown that in real glimpses this season. We've dominated every game apart from Crew, and now we need to make sure we back it up with performances and with results, and not just performances. And I'm confident we can do that. And the people we've brought in over this period, over a long period, huge credit to Liam Sweeting for the amount of work he's done on it all. Been a great support and great person to bounce things and check things with, and we have real clarity now as a club, as a group of staff, in what we want and how we're going to do it. And I'm entirely confident that it's going to be successful. How long it will take, I don't know. I said that it's going to take time. So yeah, I just ask for people to stick with it and support it, and hopefully they'll see it all make sense in the next coming weeks and months.
To summarise for me, I mean, I think the club's been quite honest. I think a lot of football clubs have been quite honest with the situation that every club's found themselves in this transfer window. Teams are about to cut cloth, the salary cap forces you to do that. The financial situation that COVID has brought has meant that clubs have had to cut back. You're not on the same budgets that you were in previous years, but obviously, what does it mean to you that you've had the support of the chairman and Andy to still sign the calibre of players that you have? You know, Cameron Jerome's, your Richard Keogh's, you're probably your number one target the day last season ended in Carlton Morris.
Yeah, Joe Mason, Ben Gladwin, we were allowed to re-sign all these players and sign new ones. So I'm extremely grateful for it, and I know how difficult it is, the current situation that everyone finds themselves in, and us in particular, the business as a whole. And you know, it's so serious. People are losing their jobs here, around the world, every business, every company. It's really difficult. And the fact we've been able to still add so much quality, so much character, and add to what we are doing, and have so much belief in what we are doing from the chairman, from Andy, so much support. I'm extremely grateful, and I'm extremely humbled by it. So I need to make sure we justify that faith and that belief, and I feel that way with the supporters as well. I feel like I have so much to give back and to be thankful for, that I'm just desperate for this to work. I just want this to work so much. We work so hard to do it. I want the chairman, I want Andy, I want the supporters to have a team they're proud of. And we've got people now, we've got a squad that I really feel can do that. So I'm really excited. I'm glad the window's over. It's not very long until the next one. So we have to make sure we get some results on board. And you know, I think we have turned down so many players in the last week, clubs and players who really want to come and play, which shows what we are doing is people are taking note, people look at it, they play against us, they see it. So we now have to justify all of that, the process, whatever you want to call it, the signings, and make sure we turn it into results. And I'm really confident with the men we have in the squad now that we'll do that.